Wednesday, June 3rd's workout of the day is going to be 5 rounds per time of, we've got 5 snatches, 10 box jumps, and 5 handstand push-ups. So it seems like it might be taking a while because it's 5 rounds per time. However, because it's so low volume in reps or repetitions that we're going through with these movements, it actually should be a rather quick WOD. So we will go over different variations that we could use, scales. This could be a snatch technically of any style. So if you're dying to get back to that barbell and work on snatches, this could be squat snatch, it could be power snatch, it could be a variety of different snatches that you're trying to work on, and depending on the weights that you have at home. There is no prescribed weight, so it could be as heavy as 115 pounds for females, 180s for males. It's just depending on where you're at with your snatch work and what you're looking to get out of today's WOD. We could also vary the jump height in the box jumps, and we of course could do piked push-ups in the handstand push-ups. Those are all possible variations for today. I would go hard in the workout because your skill strength is going to be mostly some time for mobility and stretching. We've got a minute of a couple of different stretches that we're going to go through. So just like we would in a normal scenario at the gym, we're going to take time to eventually, by the end of the warm up the different parts of a snatch. So we're going to take time from the deadlift position all the way up to a muscle snatch, and then an actual power snatch, and then build some weight onto our snatch bar. Or it could be potentially using a kettlebell or a dumbbell for today, and that's okay too with your snatches. We're gonna start with a 20-foot lane of doing a variety of different workouts, but I wanna point out a squat side shuffle. Normally we do just a normal side shuffle, followed by a jumping jack shuffle. Then we're going to talk about 5 seated jumps. We haven't done those before. And we're going to get some wall walk practice that's ultimately going to help us for our handstands. So you'll see when we get to the second part of the warm-up, we'll be going back and forth between a jump of some sort and then a wall walk in a 10-second hold. And then followed by a brief Bergener style warm-up that we're going to go through with the snatch. So eventually you'll need a dowel or a PVC to go through that snatch warm-up. So let's talk about the warm-up first. In the squat side shuffle, you're just going to be in a squat position. So it could be a quarter squat position, or if you're feeling okay, all the way down to a squat position, and we're going to side shuffle down that 20-foot lane. The jumping jack shuffle is just like what it sounds like. Instead of doing a jumping jack in place, we're going to turn and we're going to shuffle, and we're going to do jumping jacks down and back a 20-foot lane. So to get that heart pumping. Then we're going to do 5 seated jumps. So what you'll want to do is find a chair or something to have a seat from, and you're going to have a full seat, and you're going to work on a big vertical jump from that seated position up and jump and leave the ground. So see how high you can get from a seated position. So you'll notice in the warm-up that we're loading up your legs and that explosive ability to help you in your box jumps for the actual WOD. Now, after the seated jumps, you're going to find a spot where you can wall walk. So for you, if you don't have a full wall walk, go as high as you can, or it could be potentially practicing maybe even handstand kick-ups. If you can wall walk at some sort of a height, go ahead and hold for 10 seconds. It could even be a pike handstand push-up and you're holding in that. So anything to help and build that strength. It could even be a bear crawl as well. The next round, we're not going to do seated jumps. You're going to do 5 broad jumps. So those are for distance. I want to lead with my hips going forward, and I want to see how far I can jump. So not a bunny hop for height, but a nice big long jump, a big broad jump. And you'll wall walk again, followed by the last one is going to be a tuck jump, where I'm going to get both knees as high as I can up towards my chest. Both knees are going to come up, and you're going to do 5 tuck jumps, and then again another wall walk. You get the idea with those. Then that leads us, now that we're nice and warmed up, to our snatch review for today. So if it's been a while since you've worked on snatch, take your time going through each of these. You're going to first start with a deadlift, and we're just going to do some repetitions from there. So let's review your setup position. So I'm going to be working with snatch grip, so nice wide grip from here. I want to make sure my spine is nice and neutral, and I want to make sure that I'm back in my heels and my shins are nice and upright. So I'm not too far forward, and my knees aren't all the way straightened. So I've got a nice bend in my knees, and I've got those vertical shins. So I'm going to practice on moving my knees back and deadlifting to my thigh a couple of times. So back down and then back up. Followed by, we're gonna deadlift and shrug. So from here, we're gonna deadlift and then we're gonna shrug our shoulders. So let me show that in a full position. My chest is nice and upright, so you should be able to read the CrossFit logo on my shirt. And I'm gonna deadlift and I'm gonna shrug. So I'm not moving my elbows yet. So again, deadlift from the mid shin and shrug, nice and high, followed by a snatch pull. So we're gonna shrug and now bend our elbows high and outside, knees back, and I'm gonna shrug and then pull. So remember, in the snatch pull, I wanna make sure the PVC is as close to my body as possible and I'm not rainbowing out. So that snatch pull should be nice and close, and then drop my elbows right back down. Followed by a muscle snatch. So there's not gonna be a redip or a bend in my knees. It's just gonna be a direct overhead, think like a strict snatch. So from my deadlift position up, I'm gonna do the same thing, shrug, snatch pull, and then directly overhead for the muscle snatch. So again, it's gonna be a quick turnover and I'm snatching overhead. In that midline position, I know in the video I'm cut off a little bit, but should be directly overhead. So again, muscle snatch, no redip in my knees. Followed by a power snatch where we can have a soft catch in our knees now. So back down to my shins, and I can get a little bit of a jump in with that, a slight catch position, and stand. So again, from here, I'm gonna open my hips all the way, shrug, pull, and then catch with that power snatch and stand. So after you've gone through the power snatch, I would spend about 8 minutes building up to your WOD weight. Practice snatches. You'll see a recommended guideline in the warm-up for practicing and building up to your snatch weight, practicing your handstand push-up variation that you're going to use, and also your box jump. So make sure you're nice and confident with whatever it is that you choose to do for today's WOD. Your skill strength is going to be a wall pec stretch. So up against the wall, you're gonna put your forearm, you're gonna lean against that wall, so you should be stretching your pec muscle, so that's between your chest and your shoulder here, and I'm gonna be opening up just like this. I would spend about a minute each side. Then you're gonna do a minute in both the prone and supinated position of your wrist on the floor. So if this was my wrist on the floor, I wanna spend about a minute practicing a wrist stretch here, and then I would flip my wrist facing up or face my palm up. So palm down, palm up, give it a nice wrist stretch from there and take some time for mobility, and good luck with this one on Wednesday.